السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، Dr. Jamal Farhan online courses introduce to you a free lecture for further more information. معلومات زيادة متقدمة. Contact us through our social media. ممكن تواصلوا من خلال السوشيال ميديا الظاهرة في الشاشة seen in the screen, or you can go to the comment section below and the description في خانة الوصف أو التعليقات تحت هتلاقوا رابط مباشر في الواتساب businesses. not to take more of your time عشان ما ناخذ كثير من وقتكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وإن شاء الله تستفيدوا من هذه المحاضرة. بالتوفيق للجميع. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today we'll continue on the anatomical landmark of the complete denture. Sorry for being late for updating our videos because we have going on the hard work or hard period of times. نعتذر عن الإطالة وإنه تأخرنا عليكم في المحاضرات. So we already have been discovered on the previous lectures on the anatomical landmark of the complete denture. We described the anatomical landmark and its definition, and we say that there is two types of anatomical landmark, extraoral and intraoral. The first structure we talked about the extraoral anatomical landmark, and on the previous also lectures we covered the maxillary anatomical landmark. Today we will talk about the mandibular anatomical landmark. So in the maxillary we talked it about on 3 lectures: supporting and limiting and relieving structures, and this is the maxillary anatomical landmark. Today we're talking about the mandibular landmark. Especially on this lecture we will talk about supporting structures, and the next 2 lectures we will talk about the limiting structures and relieving structures of the mandibular anatomical landmark. اليوم راح نتكلم على المانديبولار supporting structures، الأجزاء اللي هي تعطينا السبورت أو الدعامة للدنشر الطقم. So we have 3 anatomical supporting landmark of the mandible. One is residual alveolar ridge. This is the residual alveolar ridge, and we describe that residuals means there is no teeth on the alveolar process. عرفناها تكلمنا عليها. Second part is the buccal shelves, and the buccal shelf is considered as primary stress peering area. يعني هي المنطقة اللي تستحمل القوة اللي تيجي عليها بشكل يعني قوي. So the primary stress bearing area is the area where the occlusion force is vertically or at the right angle of the area. يعني هذا الالفيولار بروسيس or نقدر نقول اللي هو البقل شلف بيكون كذا، والقوة المضغور والماستيكاتوري فورس أو الأوكلوجن فورس بتيجي بشكل عمودي at the right angle على زاوية 90 تقريبا. عشان كذا سميناها primary stress bearing area. To know the difference between primary and secondary stress bearing area, you should go back to the previous lectures. The third structure is mylohyoid ridge. So let's consider each one individually, and we will talk in the next lecture about the limiting structures, which is labial frenum, labial vestibule, buccal frenum, buccal vestibule, retinomolar bed, and the lingual frenum, and the alveolo-lingual sulcus. This is on the next lectures. Also, after that lectures, we will talk about the relieving area, mental foramen area, genial tubercle, teres mandibularis, sharp mylohyoid ridge, and crest of knife edge, and the sharp pony prominence. These we will explain it in the next 2 lectures inshallah. So don't be worried about this, forget about it. We will consider today about the supporting structures. اللي يهمنا حاليا هم supporting structures. So mandibular supporting structure, first we talked about the residual alveolar ridge, the crest of the alveolar ridge, which means let's say this is the mandible, and this is the alveolar ridge or the residual alveolar ridge, and the crest of the residual alveolar ridge is a prominent kind of B-sharp area of this surface. Okay, this is a small explanation. يعني بشكل مبسط ال crest of the alveolar ridge هو الجزء البارز من ال residual alveolar ridge. The bone of the crest the bone of the crest is cancellous. Cancellous means spongy. يكون في مسامات ال crest of the bone of the crest is cancellous يعني في مسامات. So it's not good area for support. يعني هذه المنطقة ما هي منطقة كويسة للسبورت as the crest المنطقة العليا. okay. In nature and it's covered by keratinized mucosa. تكون فيها الكيراتينز لأنه بيحصل فيها الماستيكاتوري فورس أغلب الوقت. فالكيراتينز we know that is help for mastication and prevent the soreness of the mucosa. احنا نعرف انه الكيراتين هذا بيساعدنا على المضغ وكمان بيحمينا انه ما يحصل تقرحات في الأغشية. Now we talked about the crest. So now we talk about the slope of the residual ridge. The slopes is this kind of area. هنا هي slopes يعني منحنيات كذا. تمام، هذه السلوبس وهذا الكريست. لو جينا نوصفها يعني زي كذا، هذا السلوب ومن الجهة الثانية برضه نفس الشيء هذا السلوب. منطقة الاثنين هي الكريست. So these are two slopes on the lingual surface, on the palatal surface, and the junction between them is the crest. So now we're talking about the slopes of the residual alveolar ridge. It has a thin plate of cortical bone, considered as a secondary stress-bearing area. If you saw or concentrate is cortical bone. We have two types of bone, cancellous or spongy bone and cortical bone. Cancellous or spongy bone have a porosity and it has a pores, okay, or a holes فيها يجي زي الاسفنجة ويكون فيه فتحات أو فراغات. أما الكورتيكال بون فهو is compact bone، يجي صلب وما فيه فتحات. فعشان كذا إحنا ما اعتبرناها إنه stress bearing area والكريست وما هو منطقة حلوة للسبورت. But on the slopes we consider it as a secondary stress bearing area. Okay, secondary stress bearing area for the mandibular alveolar process. So why is not a primary stress bearing area? As we already described, the primary stress bearing area is that can withstand the vertical force of the occlusion at the right angle. And if you consider the slopes is secondary because it's prevent or withstand the horizontal, okay, the horizontal or lateral force. يعني السكندري هي تحميك من القوة اللي تيجي من الجنب، لكن البرايمري هي اللي تيجي أفقية وعلى زاوية 90. Because the wall is steeped acts as acute angle of the occlusion force، يعني إنه تكون حادة وتكون لنا زاوية حادة في occlusion force إنه هو هذا. The second part is the buccal shelves, and the buccal shelves is this area. Okay, this is the buccal shelf in this area on the cast and in this area of the patient. This is the buccal shelf, and the buccal shelves, as we consider it, is a primary stress bearing area, and this is most important in MCQs. Primary stress bearing area of the mandible is the buccal shelves. So it's bound anteriorly by the buccal frenum. So this is the buccal frenum anteriorly. من الأمام تكون محاطة بالbuccal frenum. Posteriorly by the retromolar bud. And this is the retromolar bud. Okay, and this is the retromolar bud. It's not appear here, but it's supposed to be here. Okay. Retromolar bud is connections of group of muscles. Okay, يعني منطقة التقاء مجموعة من العضلات. هنتكلم عليها in next lecture إن شاء الله. We will talk about the retromolar bud on the I think relieving structure. So let's continue. So anteriorly by the buccal frenum, and posteriorly by the retromolar bed. Medially by the crest of the ridge. This is the medially, this is the crest. This is the crest, medially, okay? Or medially. لجوا الفم يعني. Crest of the ridge. And external, okay, and laterally by the external oblique ridge. So this is the external oblique ridge. We have here, kind to be here, external oblique ridge from that side. هذه يعني وصفها generally. So the bone is very dense on the buccal frenum and covered with less keratinized and loosely attached when compared to the crest. Significance أهميتها, the importance of the buccal shelf. In spite of non-variable mucosa considered as a primary stress-bearing area. Important notes, okay? So it's a primary stress-bearing area. Why it's primary stress-bearing area? Because it's at the right angle of the vertical occlusal loads and covering by the dense cortical bone. And we say cortical bone is impact bone. يعني صلب عظم صلب يكون. وغير كده انها تيجي vertical force مع يعني بشكل عمودي على vertical force. المايلوهايويد ridge number 3. It is a bony ridge found on the lingual side. This is the mylohyoid ridge. It's front here, and there is also here mylohyoid ridge. Okay, of the mandible near to the inferior border of the mandible. Okay, inferior border of the mandible in the incisor region. Okay, this is the inferior border of the mandible. Okay, as it goes from upward downward until here, so it's inferior border of the mandible on the incisor region. This is the incisor region, and the mylohyoid is near to the inferior border. This is the inferior border at the incisor area, and this is the end of the mylohyoid, so it's near لأنه هنا منطقة الانسايزر والمايلوهايويد ريدج يجي مايل كذا يكون نازل تحت في منطقة ايش الانسايزر area and become higher posteriorly to terminate at just distal to the area of the third molar. زي ما قلنا انه هو جاي لفوق كذا, so it's higher on the distal area and this is the third molar and it's distally to the distal to the third molar. عشان كذا هو تجي يعني وهي طالعة تكون طالعة إلى الخلف distally, وكمان بنفس الوقت تجي يعني خلف الثيرد مولر, يعني ينتهي خلف الثيرد مولر طرس العقل. Okay, its gift attached to the mylohyoid muscles which form of the floor of the mouth. عندنا الفلور of the mouth أرضية الفم تكون تغطيها muscles, عضلة تسمى المايلوهايويد muscles. المايلوهايويد muscles ترتبط في المايلوهايويد bone, المايلوهايويد ridge and mylohyoid ridge and the hyoid bone. So these are the mylohyoid muscles. So the mylohyoid ridge is considered as a supporting structure. So the significance of the mylohyoid ridge, أهمية or the importance of the mylohyoid ridge should include it in the denture peering area. يعني لازم احنا نحطه as a supporting structures. Sharp prominent ridge اللي هنتكلم عليها في relieving structures, ولاحظوا ان احنا تكلمنا في البداية في relieving structure quickly sharp mylohyoid ridge. Okay, هذا راح نتكلم عليه المحاضرة القادمة. So if on the next lecture we will talk about it. So if there is a sharp prominent ridge should be surgically corrected, otherwise relieved. يعني يا اما اذا كان حاد مرة نشيله, or if it's small we just make a relief, يعني نسوي تخفيف عنه. Thanks for watching and sorry for being late for updating our videos. So don't forget like and share and comment and subscribe and give us your opinion on down on the comment section. See you soon. والسلام ختام.